Let's start. प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहंसगतिं तुरीयं यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनं पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानं विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति. We'll chant from verses 11 to 15 of chapter 4. Verse number 11 to verse number 15. ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः. ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः. काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा. काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा. चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्मविभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्यकर्तारमव्ययम्. चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्मविभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्यकर्तारमव्ययम्. न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते. न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां योऽभिजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते. एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वे पूर्वतरं कृतम्. एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वैः पूर्वतरं कृतम्. Hari Om, welcome back. Thank you for joining this morning.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.
One.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, everyone. To all. Okay, so chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. The first 10 verses we discussed related to the idea of the Atman as the eternal teacher, that truth within us which guides us, which resides within us, which we reach out to. The entire spiritual journey is not an external acquisition of knowledge or experience, it's an inner realization. That's why it's called spiritual, because it is directed towards the spirit, that which is at the core of your being. As you come to learn more, acquaint yourself more with the spirit, its truth is self-effulgent. Self-effulgent means it shines by itself. The sun is self-effulgent. You don't need any other light to see the sun. Last time we were talking about a few indicative definitions of the Atman, right? If you recall last class, we talked about a few indicative definitions. Among them was he used a couple of terms.
Unborn, eternal, ancient, inactive principle.
Indeed. Ajopi, unborn, imperishable. Avyayam, unchanging. Similarly, another term, and I'm forgetting the Sanskrit for it actually, because I think there are two different terms, but it translates to self-effulgent, that which is does not need any other knowledge or any other light to make it visible. Like the sun is self-effulgent, it is visible through its own light. No other object is self-effulgent. To see the plant, to see this table, to see this light, to see this ceiling, you need light. That light comes from somewhere else. Either that light comes from the sun or that light comes from a bulb within the room. A bulb is self-effulgent. In that sense, a bulb is self-effulgent. A glowing bulb is self-effulgent. It is seen with its own light. So the Atman is self-effulgent. All you need to do is turn towards it, and that self will teach you. All teachers, all scriptures, all traditions, all classes like this only serve to shift your direction. That's about it. The real work has to be done by you. The real work is done by you. And so Lord Krishna says, I have taught this knowledge. I, the self, have taught it to those who have turned towards it. The great Vivaswan, Manu, Ikshvaku, and the entire lineage, the galaxy of sages and saints, have discovered the truth of life and living through this inner journey. Right? That was the first section, broadly, which we covered from the first 10 verses. The next we'll shift to is how this self, how this Atman relates to our activity. So it is the eternal teacher which guides us and which reveals itself to us as we turn more and more spiritual. But how does it relate to our day-to-day activities? What does it have to do with our actions? How does it determine, or does it determine in any way our actions? So that's the section we will talk about in the next 8 to 9 odd verses, 8 verses, I would say. Right? But before we start that, are there any questions? Yes, Rashmi ji.
In the verse 6, the last paragraph.
Mhm.
It's the last end of the paragraph. Brahman, the infinite, eternal, and changeless, is the same as the finite, ephemeral, ever changing world. All the differences you perceive appear due to name and form, due to position and configuration, due to permutation and combination. This I did not. I was not very clear about it.
Okay. So in this section, if you, let's start by reading the verse, right? So, though unborn, of imperishable nature and Lord of all beings, presiding over my own Prakriti, I am born by my own Maya, the illusory power of creation. So it is Maya, this power of illusion that causes birth. And that's precisely what he's trying to explain in this specific section. Vedanta says the difference between Brahman and the world is between. Let's take a step back, right? Before we read that section, it's important to read because he's starting with this analogy of carbon, charcoal, and diamond, right? So let's take a step back. Let's read this together because I told you in the previous class that it's very important we read the commentary for these verses as well. Prakriti means matter. I'm going to start from here. Start from quite far back actually. Prakriti means matter. The material world. This creation is a combination of Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti means matter. The Supreme Spirit, the Purusha, as it were, God. Purusha refers to Prakriti as my own. So, Purusha is saying Prakriti is my own, it's mine. Matter is of the spirit, Prakriti is of the Purusha. Matter and spirit remain one, impossible to separate. So, we create these separate terms, but in fact, they are impossible to separate, as it were. Why? Because Prakriti belongs to Purusha, matter belongs to spirit. Matter is of the spirit. The terrestrial world never exists apart from the transcendental reality. Prakriti never exists apart from Purusha. It cannot because the supreme reality, Brahman, Purusha, is all pervading. Nothing else exists other than Brahman. All pervading means it is everywhere. Everywhere means there's nothing where it isn't. So you can't say, oh, there is Prakriti here but no Purusha. No, Purusha is all pervading. So Prakriti exists within Purusha, as it were. If you were a mathematician, you would say, oh, Prakriti is a subset of Purusha. Nothing exists other than Brahman, Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. Nothing exists other than Brahman. Therefore, the world, Prakriti, must also be Brahman. Just as the mirage in the desert is nothing but sand, waves are nothing but ocean, ornaments are nothing but gold. Isn't it? The mirage is the desert. You see the mirage out of illusion. But the mirage is not some fantasy other than the desert. It has a creation out of ignorance, out of illusion, and it dissolves back once you see that there's actually just sand. But where does the mirage exist? The mirage exists in the sand. Where does the wave exist? The wave is nothing but the ocean. It's not separate from the ocean. Yes, it temporarily appears to have an identity, but then it dissolves back. So it's a momentary expression of the ocean, dissolves back into the ocean. Ornaments are nothing but gold. They've just been given a name and a form. You've given the gold a form, made it round and made it a concentric circle, and you've called it a bangle. You've given it a name. So you've given it a nama rupa, name and form. Ornaments are nothing but gold essentially. Just by nama rupa, you've given it an identity, as it were. But the identity is nothing but nama rupa. There's nothing essentially different. So Brahman with name and form is Prakriti. Just as ornament with name and form is gold with name and form is ornament. And how does this come about? So you have to combine these analogies. He's giving three analogies. He's giving the analogy of the mirage in the desert to talk about the illusion. He's talking about waves in the ocean to talk about impermanence. And he's giving the example of ornaments and gold to talk about effectively no change, as it were, no difference. It's just a nama rupa. Three different analogies to give three different ideas of what is Maya. Maya is a temporary illusory phenomenon which is just a reorientation of name and form. That's all it is. That is Maya. The result of the new formation, a new combination, a new position of the same thing. Right? With Maya, Purusha turns into Prakriti, just as sand turns into a mirage, ocean turns into waves, gold turns into ornaments. You have to combine all three. See, we're trying to communicate a very, very subtle idea, and just one idea, just one example will not grab it. We have to take, we have to combine all three examples to convey this. But this tries to express what is Maya. What is Maya? Mirage in the desert, waves in the ocean, ornaments in gold. Next time someone asks you what is Maya, mirage in the desert, waves in the ocean, ornaments in gold. Then he gives an example. He says, it's just a new position, a new combination of the same thing, just as charcoal and diamond are essentially the same. They're carbon. It's just a difference in combination. I won't expect you to know that, but any of you who studied chemistry back in the day should know this. Charcoal and diamond are essentially carbon. One is used, one is dismissed, smeared on paper. The other is preciously cut and kept inside lockers. Will you keep your charcoal pencils inside lockers? Will you keep your diamond ring in your pencil box? You may not know it, but it is the same. It is a scientific fact. Charcoal is carbon, diamond is carbon. Yes, charcoal is black, diamond is brilliant. Charcoal is soft, diamonds are hard. Charcoal is cheap, diamonds are precious. All these differences, Nama Rupa, different form and therefore different name. Nama Rupa. The difference lies in the structure of the carbon atoms. A different name, a different form, a different combination, creating an almost opposite expression, a wide disparity in their apparent properties. But it's Nama Rupa, nothing else. So take all these four examples and then read this. Then Vedanta says the difference between Brahman and the world, the difference between Purusha and Prakriti, is the difference between carbon and charcoal, is the difference between desert and mirage, is the difference between ocean and wave. One is permanent, one is impermanent. One is the reality, one is an illusory projection. One is the essential, all-pervading truth, and the other is just a Nama Rupa, a different orientation of the same thing. This world consists of nothing but divinity. This world is divinity, just as Prakriti is Purusha, and yet they seem opposed. Brahman, the eternal, infinite, changeless, is the same as this finite seeming world, this ephemeral, transient world where everything is always changing, where everything has a beginning and an end. Right? Try to wrap your head around this. It's just the difference between charcoal and carbon. is just the difference between waves and the ocean. All differences appear to you due to nama rupa, name and form, position and configuration, permutation and combination. This is Maya. Maya is causing this expression. The moment you get off the illusion, the moment you are able to see through the mirage, you'll see the underlying desert. You'll see the truth for what it is. But for that, you need jnana chakshu. You need the eye of wisdom. Right? Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. There is only divinity, God only exists. Nothing else. It's one of the deepest thoughts of Vedanta when it talks about the nature of creation. One of the most incredible mysteries of this world is creation. What are we doing here? How did this come about? What is the point of all of this? What is creation? What is? Is there only one creation? Are there multiple creations? It's all incredible. Ashcharya, Ashcharya. The answer is not important. Ascharya bhav is important. The answer is not important. But to wake up with that wonderment, what is this? I tell you, I was reading the, one second, I'm going to get the Yog Vashisht, one second. It's wonderful how things add up, you know. Yesterday I was reading a wonderful verse and I just got startled. I was like, maybe someday I'll share this with the class. And today, your question has brought up the opportunity to share this with the class. This is the highest philosophy, the ultimate philosophy, and it's in book 1, chapter 3, verse number 3. This word spoken by Valmiki to Bharadwaj. So, since we were clarifying, bulk of the Yog Vashisht is a conversation between
Ram and
Lord Rama and sage Vashishta. Actually, no. It's a conversation between Valmiki and Bharadwaj. Just as the Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between who?
you and me.
Good answer. Not you and me. Well, technically, yes. We think it's Lord Krishna and Arjuna, but actually it is Sanjaya speaking to Dhritarashtra. Right? Well, actually, and if you get into the Mahabharata, it's actually a narration of a different thing altogether. Anyway, so this is Bharadwaj asking a question and Valmiki replying. And Valmiki says, all visible objects are absolute negation. We have no idea of them save for sensation. Inquire into these apprehensions and you will find them as never real. Drishyatyanta bhavabodham vina tannanubhuyate kadachit kena chinnam svabodho nishyatamataha. All visible objects, all things you see, this apparent world, this Prakriti in front of you, are absolute negation. You must negate it. If you get to the bottom of it, you'll find there's nothing there. We have no idea of them save from sensation. You and I are only sensing this Prakriti. And based on our sensation, we are giving it a reality. We are saying, oh, this is here, this is real. And what is your proof for it? Oh, I can sense it. But are our senses reliable? Inquire into these apprehensions. Forget philosophy out here, forget psychology out here. Even science throws us such a, you know, bewildering thought. If you get to the bottom of it, even science throws us such a bewildering thought. If you get to quantum mechanics, it shows you that what are these particles that make up the solid objects? Huh? Most of the solid object is just atoms with, you know, subatomic particles roaming around in essentially space. Even the solid object is essentially space. The space between atoms is like it's empty. The space within an atom, between the nucleus and the, you know, orbital cloud of electrons, it's I mean, for any scientifically minded person who has read these things and who has inquired into the nature of what's happening within, essentially, what are objects? It's a mystery. We have no idea how it happens. Huh? Physics has no answer to most of these things. In fact, this is one of the most biggest mysteries of physics, to understand the essential nature of things. And we are happily, blissfully ignorant. If we inquire into this, it will only throw up more questions, Maya. It will only throw up more questions, and it should bewilder you. It should bring you into an Ascharya Bhav. So this is just the galaxy of sages, through their own enlightenment, have simply concluded that this is Maya. This is not actually there. But for you and me who are on this journey, it should be a bewildering experience. What is Maya? What do you mean this is an illusion? It should throw up questions. That Ascharya Bhav is what will guide us on this spiritual journey, is what will help us progress on this spiritual journey. Yadi manyase suvedete. If you think you've understood it, you've not understood anything. If you think you've understood whatever I've said, if I myself think I've understood what I've said, that means I don't know anything. Words cannot capture this concept. We've given 4 examples, 4 analogies, only to give it some cohesive idea. But ultimately, what is Maya? It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Yep. Does that satisfy you?
Totally, sir.
I didn't know. It wouldn't satisfy me. It would make me feel really annoyed.
Sir, it gives me a very rattling feeling. Don't
That's
understand.
meant to. If that's what it's done, then that's the purpose. It should rattle you.
Beyond comprehension, you can't. I mean, it's like forget it. You know, it's not seeping in, and right now it's like I don't want to listen. Also, it's like that.
Oh, that's not what it's meant to do.
Take the head and tails out of anything. So yeah, that's the way it's rattling.
We'll try again. Yes, Prachi.
Wanted to clarify something in the pertaining to the 7th and 8th verses. So, we speak of the enlivening principle or the enlivener as sort of impartial, like being petrol. I mean, it's not concerned with our speed, velocity, whether we drive up the hill or off it or something. But, just reading these verses, it seems like even at a macrocosmic level, this enlivening principle is sort of not so impartial. Like, it wants righteousness to ultimately like sort of prevail, or like wants to create conditions for righteousness to favorable condition for righteousness. So I just wanted to.
Is this the devotee asking the question, or is it a jnani asking the question?
I don't know. Like I might have some follow-up.
Because since you've asked the question, the resounding answer is he don't care. good and bad, right and wrong, righteousness and unrighteousness are the warp and woof of the world. This is dvandva. The self, as it were, is an impartial and livina. Yes, and he's going to say it in verse number 11 right now. However you use me, I satisfy you. However you approach me, I satisfy you. In the sense that whatever you use this enlivening principle for whatever kind of activities, it simply enables it, enlivens it. The flow from dharma to adharma is a natural phenomenon. It's a question of demand and supply. Now, for the devotee, and who is a devotee? A devotee is one who is unable to comprehend. Why? Because devotion arises when the intellect fails to comprehend. That is devotion. When your buddhi cannot make sense of something beyond a certain point, you develop a spirit of surrender, you develop a spirit of letting go, you develop a spirit of devotion. So a devotee is one essentially who has surrendered to a higher power. And that higher power is symbolized as one that comes to resurrect, that comes to save, in a sense. Essentially, who is the one that is saving? It is an individual who is reaching out to their core capabilities, who is reaching out to the self within and gaining that capacity to do good, perhaps. Because why? That is the need of the hour. God is not coming down, God is coming through you, essentially. That's an idea. I think I was just seeing a clip of Sri Ravi Shankar, and he said something. Someone said, "Why is there so much evil in this world? How does it? Doesn't it impact? I mean, how can we not doubt? You know, the existence of God when there's so much bad in this world? So many of us are trying to do good." So Sri Ravi Shankar's answer was, "God exists. He's working through you to do the good." In that sense. But here's the googly. God also exists in the sinner doing bad. God is impartial. This is a leela. Your ultimate job is to get out of this drama of righteousness and unrighteousness. Wake up. This is a Maya. So, the answer to your question depends on from which vantage point you are asking this question. And I'm assuming you're asking this question from the perspective of a jnani, right? So, this is not something one would say straight up. Why? Because it will unsettle a person. But one who is seasoned, one who is ready to hear the truth, here is the truth. This world will come and go through a constant rise and fall of dharma and adharma. It's inevitable. How many avatars of Vishnu have come and have gone? None has been able to completely eradicate adharma. None has been able to completely create dharma. It's all a passage. And if Vishnu couldn't do it, who are you and me? Right? Not to say that it's not worth doing. Right? In fact, beings come with a purpose into this world. And if your purpose is dharmic, do your dharmic work and create that conducive environment. Why? Also because in a dharmic environment, spirituality also prospers, no doubt about it. Right? But ultimately, the goal, the purpose is Senayor Ubhayor Madhye, stand in between these two armies and absorb the truth. The two armies of dharma and adharma. There'll be a constant conflict between them. There'll be a constant up and down between them. But your ultimate goal is to get to the truth. We talk about two lives, right? We live an outer life and an inner life. In the outer life, do your dharma, establish dharma. In your inner life, go beyond,
No,
transcend.
that's
Okay.
thank you.
Freed from desire, fear, anger, absorbed in me, take refuge in me, purified by the fire of knowledge. Many have attained my being. Okay, verse number 11. Yes, Balaji.
Hariom ji, this is relevant to the discussion you had about the Prakriti and Purusha being the two sides of the same coin, inseparable. When I look at the consciousness, like waking, dream, and deep sleep, and the self-realized person, in the three states, we find the combination of the awareness or the Atman with the body, mind, and intellect equipment in varying degree. Whereas in the realized level, it is only the awareness that exists. So in such a case, is it not the Purusha separate from the Prakriti?
Can you repeat your question?
I said that when I look at the consciousness, waking, dream, and deep sleep, I find that the Atman with the permutation combination of the body, mind, and intellect equipment presenting itself in these three states. Whereas in the self-realized person, only the awareness or the Atman exists. So in such a case, the Purusha alone exists in the absence of Prakriti. But you said, this is my understanding, but you said the Prakriti and Purusha can never be separated. Can you clarify that?
No, who is a self-realized person? How are they existing? Their expression, their existence is through Prakriti. Without Prakriti, they wouldn't exist, as it were, in this world. A self-realized person, a Jivan Mukta, one who has attained enlightenment in this state, is still visible to you through their body, is still connecting you with you through their mind, is still comprehending things through their intellect. So, without Prakriti, you wouldn't be. Prakriti, think of Prakriti as the interface. The Prakriti is the interface through which the Atman manifests itself or expresses itself in this world. Right?
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah, got it.
Short question, short answer. Okay, verse number 11. ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः. Howsoever men approach me, even so do I satisfy them. Men tread my path in all ways, O Partha. Again, there are two lenses by which we can see this, right? But coming back to our point, whenever Lord Krishna uses the word me or I, he is referring to the Atman, not to the person. So howsoever men approach the Atman, however men utilize the Atman, however a person, an individual uses the Atman complies, the Atman satisfies them. Do as you please. Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. Men tread my path in all ways, O Partha. All actions are spiritual in that sense. Men tread my path in all ways. Now, the Atman is the enlivening principle. However you want to utilize the Atman to perform action, Atman doesn't decide what action is performed, what action is not performed. Your gunas decide what action is done. Your gunas determine the quality of your actions. The gunas determine the nature of your actions. The gunas determine the direction of your action. The gunas determine the intensity of your action. The Atman is simply the enlivening principle. Without it, no action can be performed, but it has nothing to do with what action is performed. But actions in this world can be evolutionary or devolutionary. Action in this world can be mundane or spiritual. Action in this world can take you deeper down this rabbit hole of samsara, or it can help you proceed and progress towards liberation. The kind of action, the nature of action is determined by your discretion, the discretion of your gunas. The Atman is simply there. This is symbolized by Lord Krishna holding the stick in one hand and the Jnana Mudra in the other hand. Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya. He's a cowherd. He's holding a stick. He's holding a stick to keep the herd of cows in control. And on the other hand, there's a Jnana Mudra. Now, the stick and the cows represent mundane activity. They represent all sorts of actions for the acquisition of wealth, health, name, fame, power, position, experience, enjoyment, etc., etc. That entire host of actions with which you exist in the world, where the end goal is acquisition and enjoyment and pleasure in the world itself. Nothing wrong with it. It's one of the options you have. And the other option is Jnana Mudra. Action performed for your awakening. Action performed for your enlightenment. Action in the form of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. To help you proceed towards self-realization. It's up to you. Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. However men approach me, so do I satisfy them. A devotee will read this verse slightly differently. A devotee will say that Lord Krishna satisfies with whatever thought, with whatever endeavor I take to them. Lord Krishna will fulfill it, satisfy it, help me attain it. So there are different ways to interpret this, but from a jnani's perspective, right, from a philosophical perspective, we have to read between the lines. We have to go a little deeper. Men tread my path in all ways. There's no right and wrong action in this sense. It's not wrong to perform mundane activity. Everyone has their nature. Everyone is in a certain stage of their spiritual journey, and different people tread the path in different ways. In fact, later in chapter 7, he talks about 4 different kinds of worshippers. Those who approach with different intents. There's the artha, there's the artharthi, there's the jignasu, and there is the jnani. So people are in different stages of their spiritual journey, and they're approaching the Lord in different ways. Right? And to each their own, in the sense that you can't force fit someone into a different path. Knowledge has to be taken, knowledge has to be sought. A person has to decide what turns they need to take on their spiritual journey, how they need to accelerate it, how they need to shift it, right? Otherwise, you'll be a square plug in a round hole. So people tread my path, the path of the self in all ways. Everybody is on a journey of self-discovery at different stages and at different velocities. People are moving at different stage in a different velocity. Don't sit in judgment about anyone, and don't try to compare yourself with anyone. First of all, it's very difficult to comprehend. It's very difficult to comprehend. Have that spirit of learning from everyone. Whatever you can, learn from them. It doesn't matter where the knowledge is coming from. It doesn't matter how great or evolved the teacher is. The simplest of things in life can teach you. if you have that attitude of learning. So people of all stages and all places are treading my path, on this path of self-discovery. Verse number 12. काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा. काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा. Among those who tread my path in various ways, he says, they who long for success in action here sacrifice to the gods, for quickly indeed success is born of action in the human world. Those who long for success in action here means in this world. Those who want success in the mundane path, in the material world. Now I'm using the term mundane, but don't. I mean, I'm not using it in a pejorative sense, right? Although mundane generally has a connotation of being pointless, but I'm only using it in the sense of, okay, let's say material versus spiritual. Those who long for success in the material world, in action here, for health, wealth, name, fame, power, position, entertainment, enjoyment, pleasure, whatever. Even noble actions, doing good, creating a positive impact. Those who long for success here sacrifice to the gods, for quickly indeed success is born of action in the human world. Kshipram hi manushe loke. Kshipram means quickly. Means you orient yourself with the right values, you orient yourself with the right principles, and you are bound to achieve success. It's a matter of cause and effect. And those who have understood this mantra in life, even among all of humanity, only a small fraction understand these values, these principles. But those who are able to pick up on these principles, which are packaged as management principles, which are packaged as, the best ways to go around and deal with things, they indeed achieve success quickly. It's guaranteed. Success in this world is not a mystery. It's not a Pandora's box. It's not anything complicated. Those who simply have comprehended and followed diligently a certain value system in their actions, they are bound to achieve success. In comparison to spiritual success, when he says quickly, when he says easily, elsewhere he'll say easily. In chapter 3 he said easily. Sahajam. He used the word sahaj. So it's easily attained. It's quickly attained. In comparison to spiritual growth. In comparison to spiritual success, when you're talking about enlightenment, in comparison to that, material success is quickly attained. How? Through sacrifice to the gods. First of all, he uses the word sacrifice. Yajante. Yajna, coming from the word yajna. You have to have a yajna bhav. What is a yajna bhav? Even in this material plane, if you want success out here, you have to have an attitude of gratitude, a spirit of collaboration, a spirit of contribution, an idea of a goal, an idea of a mission to serve, to be a part of. That's yajna bhav. Without that, it's very difficult. If you think I alone am the doer, I am the doer of everything, I am the architect of everything is happening because of me, I deserve success, I should be. If that if that sense of ego is there, your success will be short-lived, if at all. So, yajna bhav is essential even for material success. And he says, those who long for success have that yajna bhav here, sacrifice to the gods. The gods represent the variety, the scores of deities. The scores of deities. Some are popular, some were popular earlier. Right now, who are the most popular deities? If you go to Bombay, Ganesha is the most popular deity. If you come to this part of the world in Calcutta, maybe goddess Durga is the most popular. So there are various deities, various gods and goddesses that preside and that have prominence in different parts of the world. Each of them represent an aspect of the world. In fact, the very creation of the gods and goddesses, it's an ingenious creation. The very creation of the gods and goddesses was done for this very purpose. Wherever the human mind goes, it's very difficult to turn a human mind spiritual. The human mind is bound to be preoccupied in material affairs, whether it is, gross matter or abstract matter, whether it is physical, whether it is non-physical, whether it is success, power, name, health, wealth, whatever it be. So wherever the human mind goes, our sages have planted deities, our sages have planted gods, so that your material pursuits themselves are divinized. So even those who long for success in action in the material world, their actions have been divinized. They sacrifice to the gods, in the sense that I am serving you and you are rewarding me as a result of that. I am playing my part and fulfilling my role, and you are the presiding deity. This is not mine, this is your giving. So it helps keep the ego in check. So they who long for success in the material world sacrifice to the gods, the various deities, the presiding deities of all sorts of pursuits. And success is guaranteed. It's indeed quickly. It is attained quickly if you follow this spirit of yajna. It's not a rocket science. Verse number 13. Slow me down, ask me any questions if you'd like, but we'll take one more verse perhaps before we conclude. Verse number 13. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah tasya kartaram api mam vidya kartaram avyayam. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah tasya kartaram api mam vidya kartaram avyayam. The fourfold caste system, the fourfold caste was created by me according to the differentiation of guna and action. Though I am its author, know me to be the non-doer and immutable. So I am non-doer, I am avyayam, I am unchanging, I am immutable. I have nothing to do with the action itself. However, actions are performed by humans based on their temperament, based on their qualities, based on their gunas, nature. So action is preceded by guna, temperament, nature. The kind of action you perform will depend on your kind of gunas you have. And based on the kind of gunas you have, you are classified in a varna, chatur varnyam, the fourfold varna system. We've said it a million times. Now this fourfold varna system has become 4,000-fold, and all sorts of, like anything in this world, it has degraded into a largely pointless concept, right? Of course, there is some logic and some cultural history to having various jatis and various, but the dogmatic following, I mean, now people have reduced this to simply, manipulate others or to, wield unnecessary power over the others. I mean, if anyone thinks through it, they'll realize what sorts of nonsense is being peddled in the name of Varna. Right? Nonetheless, we've talked multiple times about Varna, the four Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and that totally depends on the kind of guna that you have. The kind of predominant guna that you have determines your Varna. And these Varnas express certain qualities. Just by claiming to be of a certain lineage doesn't make you of that Varna. Do you have the qualities? Do you actually have those gunas? Being a Brahmana is not easy. And just because you have that name and that lineage doesn't make you a Brahmana. You have to qualify to be a Brahmana. And a Brahmin is one who is sattvic. I don't think 99% of people qualify for that. Most of our mindset is extremely tamasic. So how can we claim to be Brahmanas? Nonetheless, the fourfold caste system, which is a very logical classification and a very helpful tool for assessment of individuals. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas is a very helpful tool for assessment of individuals. This differentiation was created based on the differentiation of gunas, and though I am its author, in the sense that I am responsible for it, I am the underlying author of it, I have nothing to do with it. I am the non-doer. I don't determine what kind of actions are performed. The gunas themselves functions. Guna guneshu vartante. Gunas abide in gunas. So remember, we are talking about how the self relates to action, right? Self is the enlivening principle, however men utilize it to perform whatever action. And people perform action based on their gunas. Based on the gunas, they have a varna. Based on the varna, they are engaged in certain activities in the world. Now, what kind of activities they do, what they do, I have nothing to do with it. I am the non-doer. I am immutable. I am unchanging. Gunas keep changing. People keep changing from one guna to another. People keep changing from one. It's possible for people to grow. Of course, it doesn't happen overnight. Nobody's varna changes overnight, but over a period of time, it's possible for one to slowly change. At the same time, it's very important to understand that your nature is a very powerful driving force. Your nature is a very strong indicator of who you are today, right? So if you qualify, if you classify for a certain varna, it's not easy to change it. Although it's subject to change, no doubt. It's possible to grow, it's possible to degrade, right? So, how the self relates to action. We'll continue this discussion in the following verses, and we'll come across more perspectives on this. But with that thought, we'll conclude right now, and I'll take up any quick questions if there are. Okay, no questions. So that means we get to go home.
So I have a question.
You have a question. Okay.
So
Yes.
you spoke about somebody asked you a question about Dvanda inside you. I think somebody said about the constant Dvanda about being. So that arises due to being unfulfilled inside you. Like there's a.
Somebody asked about what? About Dvandva.
I said I remember you speaking about Dvanda. I think righteousness वाला जो question था उसके ऊपर you said this कि the Dvandva inside you is constant, like it's always there.
Okay.
And then this arised. I started feeling that we had spoken about being feeling of unfulfilled, like that arises, that causes the Dvanda inside us because we are constantly, because we.
First of all, it's not Dvandva inside us. Whether it's inside us or outside us, Dvandva is the very nature of the world. This world is nothing but an expression of opposites. Dvandva is another name for the world. Yes, the extent to which we are um, to the extent to which we have unfulfilled desires, the extent to which we are desire ridden, to that extent we will experience these dvandvas or will be subject to them. The extent to which we are dependent on our desires, to the extent to which we are dependent on our gunas, to that extent we will be subject to the dvandvas. The extent to which we are attached in this world, to that extent we will be victim of the dvandvas. If things are going good, if things are not going good, small changes will totally rattle us. We'll be oscillating. So yes, attachment in this world makes you a victim of the dvandvas. Detachment from this world makes you dvandvatita, elevates you, frees you from the fluctuations of the world. And that's half the philosophy. Half the philosophy is take up this knowledge and you'll be free, you'll be insulated, right? Nothing can touch you. That's half the story. The other half of the story is Maya, which we don't talk that much about. We talk about this half. Pick it up and you'll be insulated from the world. You'll be free, you'll be liberated in that sense.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, with no further questions, thank you so much, and we'll see you again on Thursday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Hari Om.
Thank you so much.
Hari Om,
everyone.
thank you.